from the course, I've been told to defer studies.
I am this close to losing my sanity as a human being. On the 29th, I got a mail from Income Tuition. They confirmed my payment and they told me that because the payments didn't come in before the deadline, that they can no longer allow me to enroll, that I should pack my bags and go back to my home country.
Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Omomi, aka Petty Diva, and I am a University of Nottingham alumni and also a Developing Solutions Scholarship Award winner. In this educational series, I talk about the UK admission process, I talk about the UK visa application process, I talk about tips and tricks on how to enjoy your stay as an international student in the UK, and I also talk about tips and tricks on how to earn more money as an international student. So if you like videos such as this and you are not yet subscribed, please consider subscribing by clicking on the red button that says subscribe, and don't forget to click on the bell notification icon by the side so that you're notified anytime I upload videos. Now before we continue with this video, I just want to remind you that I offer some UK educational services, and those services include SOP writing, academic CV writing to boost your chances of getting an offer, and the UK admission package. The UK admission package comprises of me curating courses and schools that best fit you, helping to write the SOP for the courses that you've chosen based on your educational background and work experience, helping to write the academic CV to boost your chances of getting an offer, and also helping with the application process so that your application is as smooth as possible. If you want to use any of my services, please send me a mail to the email address on your screen. You can also join the Telegram group. The Telegram group is where we share real-time information as it is occurring. We share information that will help you avoid some issues, and we also share information that will help you take advantage of some opportunities. So if you want to join the Telegram group, please check the link in the description box. It's the first link in the description box. After you join the Telegram group and you want to use any of my services, you can send me a private message after you've joined the Telegram group. So with all that said, let's get into this video. Now, every year there are some schools that act funny towards international students. So I do these videos so that you are aware of the issues that previous or present international students are having, so that you can avoid having those issues and you can make the best choice when making application or when settling with a school. Now I have a previous video where I talked about the schools that acted up in 2022/2023. Now these schools are the schools that acted up in 2023. Now the clip that I showed before starting the video, I'm going to explain it in case YouTube decides to be funny and does not allow me to play it. Now the clip was showing some Nigerian students who have had their studentship withdrawn from Swansea University because of late payment of fees. Now some of the students said the issue with the Form A and exchange rate was what caused the delay in them paying their fees. Now from what I read and also what I watched, one of them's fees was actually paid about 2 days after the deadline or something, and the school still revoked her studentship. Now the school, from the article that I read, said they had given them an extension from the previous deadline, and this deadline they were not going to shift, so they revoked their studentship, and then they told UKVI that they are no more students and that they should go and come back and start another session. And I believe they were January set, and when the whole issue occurred, it was around like March, April, May or so. So they had already done some months of schooling before they had their studentship withdrawn. So that's what that clip was all about. Now in this video, I'm going to be sharing a lot of screenshots. I'm going to classify the issues that the schools have had or students have had with the schools. I'm also going to talk about the issues from the school point of view and the issue from the student point of view. So let's get into it. Now the first set of schools I'm going to mention are the schools that withdrew the studentship of students, international students that failed their module twice. Now, according to present student, Ulster University in Northern Ireland has withdrawn some student sponsorship because they failed their module twice. Now, I am going to be a devil's advocate in this case. Now, one of the things that I tell my clients before we settle with schools and courses that we're going to apply for, after curating some courses and schools for them to apply to, I will tell them to check the modules. I'll tell them to check everything about the modules. I also tell them to check the payment plan. I also tell them to check the school policy and everything, just for them to see if they can cope. I keep on saying, when I ask them, have you checked it? Can you cope? Because a lot of people overestimate their educational abilities or overestimate their abilities to survive. The UK educational system is drastically different from the Nigerian educational system, and a postgraduate course is different from an undergraduate course in Nigeria or most international students' home countries. It's going to be different because the educational system in UK expects you to do a lot of independent study, a lot of critical thinking, logical reasoning. So you are not going to be spoon-fed all the time. You have to put in the extra effort. I hate libraries. Like during my undergraduate, I barely used to go to the library. If I'm going to the library to go and read newspaper or something that is not related to school, I'm staying there so that I don't stay outside the class when we are waiting for a lecturer. But by the time I saw myself in that MPH class, by force, I knew where the library was. By force, I was staying in the library for hours. It was that bad that because I knew that I had to do extra work, even during public holidays, I would go to the postgraduate study. I would go to the postgraduate room. We had a postgraduate room where postgraduate can just stay and chill. The postgraduate room had the school computer, and there were some things that I need to do on the school computer. I will go there. I will stay for hours alone. I will go to the library even when it is not school day. I will stay there, read, practice, do all sorts of things because I knew it get a CB. A lot of people don't understand that. You might go to school 2 or 3 days in a week. Does not mean that you are going to stop studying on the days that you don't go to school. The days that you don't go to school, you have to put some hours apart to study. You have to study. People overestimate themselves. People also don't put schooling as their priority, and this is the honest truth. I left a message in my group, the group that is closed now, that talking about these things. Some people did not acknowledge. Some people might have said I've said rubbish. Some people will probably not read it, but I said it so that people are aware of what's going to happen if you don't put priority on your school. Now, as a student and as an international student, your top priority is your school. You must pass. If you are struggling, ask for help. Go for tutorials. There are always tutorials. Personally, I don't go for tutorials. I would have discussions. Even though I never used to like tutorials, we will discuss. I've had a case where another student was like, let's discuss this assignment so that we know what we are doing before we go and do rubbish. We discussed, we looked at how we are going to answer the question. And at the end of the day, I think I did well. More than half of the people in the class, because the course was just giving people a headache. But I did well, considering that it was a new area that I'm not used to. You need to ask for help. Go to the library. Go to the library attendant or the staff. Ask. I don't know where this book is. I don't know what I'm looking for. Do you have any idea? How do I search for this paper? Ask for help. Now, for some schools, they might say you have 2 chances, which is what happened at Ulster University. People had 2 chances. They failed the first time, they gave them another chance. You fail the second time, they are going to tell you to leave. Some schools might be 3 chances. You need to find out before you enter any school. If you know you're not too capable, please go to schools that are more lenient or look for courses that you are more likely to cope with. A lot of people just choose courses and they are not able to cope with it. Prep before you enter your school. Prep before you enter the session. Prep before you go to school. So please and please try and make sure that you pass. These schools don't play. Okay, next batch or the next set of schools I'm going to mention are the schools that withdrawing or withdrew studentship or sponsorship, or have locked students out of their portal because of inability to pay their fees. Now, as I mentioned before, Swansea University. Now there's DNU, that's the Montfort University. Also, Ulster University and University of Greenwich. Now, the UK universities make a lot of money from international students. So they are always after their money when you arrive in the UK, because they said you are one of the students you can pay and everything. They said, okay, they are sponsoring you. Then you come to the UK and then you don't want to pay the school fees. They are looking like, are you trying to scam them? Are you trying to be funny? You said you have the money, you showed UKVI that you have the money. But what they don't understand is the Nigerian economy has become whacked in the last few months. And the POF that some people showed, the amount of money that some people showed for their POF at a particular point in time is drastically different from what it's required now. The amount of money that you require now. Like earlier this year, £1 was around 5 something to 600. Now it's about 1,300 naira. So there's a drastic difference. Even if you showed the whole money at that time, and you have the whole money, your money, the ability to pay has been cut into half because the exchange rate has doubled. So that's some of the things that people have that is affecting people paying their fees. And these universities are not even smiling. They don't want to hear stories that touch. Another reason why people are even having this issue of payment of fees is that a lot of them overestimated their ability to find work to augment the fees. Now, like I said, the exchange rate has kind of doubled. So even if you had the whole money before entering the UK, you still have to look for a way to like get the other half that Nigeria has helped to cut off. So you have to look for work to try and augment the money. You already know that you cannot work more than 20 hours per week during term time as a student. And then people overestimate their ability to find work. I will use myself as an example. I arrived in the UK around September. I did not get any job until maybe like March. And that job was not even a job. It was just to buy food. It was paying like £30 per 2 weeks because it was an hospitality job and it was not all the time. Before I got a job that could pay me like up to like £700 or £800 per month, or around £600, because yeah, it was around £600 per month. It was in July, almost at the end of my program. In fact, by then, July, we had already finished things. I was working on my thesis. When I could fully do the job was like August, September. So I had gone through almost 7 or 8 months or 9 months without seeing a job like that, and that kind of affected me in some ways. And so that is kind of the issue that a lot of people are having, and these schools are not smiling. Now, one of the ways to prevent this kind of issue is to look at the installment payment plan of the school. Now, for instance, when I curate schools and courses for my clients, I'll tell them, check the payment plan too. Can you cope? Can you pay for the first installment after the deposit? Can you pay for half of the second installment after the deposit? Immediately you get to school, so that you will not have issue. Now, I saw a comment from a member of my group, of the group that is now closed, and she was telling people that anybody that is coming for January should go and pay 70% of their school fees before resuming. And that is the second way that you can avoid this issue. If you pay like 70% of your school fees before enrollment or by enrollment, you're less likely to have issues. Even if you don't pay at the deadline, don't pay before the deadline for the other installment, because you've paid 70%, they can still give you leeway than if you just paid the deposit and you've not even paid first installment. So paying a large amount of your school fees before enrollment is a good way to avoid this issue. Another way to avoid this issue is that even if your school does not have multiple installment payment plan, like University of Salford, University of Stirling, or Lincoln, that you could get up to 12 installment payment plan, or even Glasgow Caledonian University that has 8 installments, you could by yourself be paying at least £300 to £1,000 per month to the school, so that by the time the deadline even comes, they'll be like, oh, this person has been regular, has been paying every month, maybe we should allow this person to be paid every month, and then they don't start threatening you with locking you out of the student portal, or revoking your studentship and the rest. So those are the ways that you can use to try and avoid the issue. The number one is to check for multiple installment payment plan, but some schools have acted funny, and I'll talk about them in a minute. So please check the school's payment plan. Try to pay a large amount of your school fees before you enroll, and also maybe establish a personal payment plan, that personal monthly payment plan, so that you avoid issue. Now, some schools have been so nice to understand what's going on, and I'm going to mention them. University of Hull has been mentioned by some international students as one that has been considering all the things that has been happening. So for the September 2022 students, they've been given till December 2023 to pay their school fees. Some of them that are still owing some of the school fees. We are in October, meaning that their school year is officially over. Their school year is from September 2022 to 2023, which is kind of, I love that they were able to consider the students, because now the students can work full time and quickly pay before their graduation. Definitely, if they don't pay their school fees before graduation, they're not going to graduate. If they are not able to graduate, they won't be able to get postgraduate visa. So a lot of students will definitely pay, but because they have more time to work, they are going to be able to get that money to pay. So I love that they did that. Now, University of Plymouth, according to students there, they don't really like enforce any installment payment plan on them. It's a free payment plan as long as you pay before a certain deadline. I believe the deadline for September intake is July 2024. Now, that is good, but the problem I have with the University of Plymouth is that their school fees is not cheap. So please check before you jump and apply and pay your deposit. The next set of schools I'm going to mention are schools that drastically changed their payment plan. Now, the schools are Teesside University, University of Bournemouth, and DMU. Now, Teesside University had a good payment plan. That's why people used to rush Teesside University, because it had a good payment plan. For some courses, it had the 2 years option, and the school fees is usually split equally for both years. So that was why a lot of people used to flock to Teesside University. And their previous installment payment plan was between 3 to 7 installments, and people used to take the 7 installment option. Now, I think around June, July, they just sent message and said 3 to 7 installment payment plan has been cancelled. Now, if you want to resume at Teesside, you're going to pay your remaining school fees in 2 installment payment plan. So after paying a tuition fee deposit of 5,000, it was increased from 4,000 to 5,000. You're supposed to pay 50% of the remaining school fees on enrollment. So on enrollment is usually for September, is usually October or September. So you're supposed to pay 50% on enrollment, and then you're supposed to pay the other 50% some months after. And I was like, for what? A lot of people would have paid their 5,000 deposit fees, and now you just come and say that. I guess some of the issues they had with other students was what made them to say that, so that they can collect a lot of their money upfront. But 5,000 is already a lot of money. And so for those who were doing the 2-year course, it's not that bad, because the 2-year course is like 9,000 for each year. So if you're paying 5,000, you have 4,000 for the first year. When you pay 50% of the remaining 4,000, that's just £2,000 on enrollment. So it's not bad for those that already gotten admission for the 2-year courses. Now for those that had gotten admission for the 1-year course, that's where it's a lot of problem. The tuition fee for the 1-year course is like 15,000. So after you've paid 5,000 for tuition fee deposit, you're required to pay 50% of the remaining 10,000. That's 5,000 on enrollment. So that means you're paying 10,000 within how many months? So that's very bad of them. DMU, I read somewhere on Twitter also that they have changed their payment plan, and they changed it midway. Like you've seen in the screenshot, DMU is, from some international students perspective, is not international student friendly. So that's something that you need to check. Now, University of Bolton was one of the schools that had affordable tuition fee, but this year they just changed their payment plan. In fact, when you want to apply, you are supposed to submit your proof of funds that has the whole tuition fee money and also the maintenance fee, and it's supposed to have been held for 28 days, like as if you want to apply for visa. So you're supposed to submit it while you're applying. That's the only way that they're going to consider your application. Now, after you've applied, from the last time I checked, you are supposed to pay all your school fees. Yes, all your school fees before you can get CAS. And I'm like, what sort of rubbish is that? I don't know if they were able to get students, because once I saw that, I locked up. I don't even check their website. I don't even want to know anything about University of Bolton, because I'm never going to recommend it to anybody. And I don't know if they've changed the payment plan. I don't know. Even if they change it, I don't think it's a school that you should consider for now, because if you can even think of telling people to pay all their tuition fee as deposit, you can do and undo when they are students. So I'd advise at this point in time that you give University of Bolton a leeway, except you can pay all your school fees at once. If you can pay all your school fees at once, if you have all the money ready, in case they change their mind, if they've changed that useless payment plan, then go ahead. It's really affordable last time I checked. Now, the next set of schools are schools that changed some of their policy midway. Now, the school to be mentioned in this category is Sheffield Hallam University. Now, Sheffield Hallam University has already had issues. Personally, I've had issues with the way they operate for some things. The school does not joke with their deadline. They don't joke with their resumption deadline. They don't joke with their payment deadline. This school will threaten you up and down. They tell you if you don't resume before this particular day, don't bother to come to the UK. We are going to tell UKVI we have revoked your studentship. That school is that bad. They will not even understand anything that is going on. Even if the problem is with UKVI, if you've applied for visa, they've not given you your visa for a long time, they will not hear story. So Sheffield Hallam University already had that reputation. And now I watched a video of a particular student that was on a placement program. That is a 2-year program. And she said the students that their class, they received a message from their department, school department, that if they've not gotten a place for placement by a certain date, they are going to have their studentship revoked. They will have to leave. They will have to do something. There were so many things that they said, But it was so annoying because everything was like, you have to leave. You have to leave. If you do this, you will leave. If you do, you can leave, then come back, then do. It was so irritating. The whole point was, if you don't get a placement, I think they gave them like 2 months, your studentship is going to be revoked. And I was like, what is all this? I know that for schools that do 2-year course with placement, if you don't get a placement by a particular date, they will revert you back to a 1-year course. So instead of doing placement that served as an option for thesis, you will do the thesis and finish in 1 year. So they will send a message to you, KVI, say this person is no more doing a 2-year course, it's doing a 1-year course. So your visa period will be reduced. That's what I knew. And that was what the student also said. She said that's what they told them, that if you cannot get a placement or something, you will reverse to that 1 year something. But this one, the way they said is nothing like the 1 year again. Go home if you cannot find. And I was like, what the heck? Midway, this is students that resumed in September, and you're telling them in June, July, that thing, that if they don't get a placement place by, I think August, it was August, I think you told them around June, that by August, then you are blah, 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 and you've collected money. You've collected school fees money. Like, wow. I don't understand who decided that thing, but that was very bad and very unfair of them. So please, if you want to apply for a placement course at Sheffield Hallam University, please take note. Policies can change anytime. Now, this is the end of the video. I've mentioned a lot of schools and their issues, and I've also mentioned things that you can do to avoid the issues. Now, some of these schools might be great with their course outline, great with the teaching and everything, but when you are not favorable to international students who are in the UK because of you, like you are their link, and you begin to threaten them, it gives them a lot of mental stress and anxiety and everything. So I really do hope that when you are considering applying, you put into consideration some of the things that have occurred. Now, I have a video where I listed some things that you need to look at before you settle down with a school, and the payment plan and also school workload and everything is part of the things I mentioned. There's some other things that I mentioned. Please check that video out. I'll link the video in the comment section or in the description box. So I really hope you enjoyed this video. I hope this video is helpful. I hope it prevents you from having issues. Like, you have to use other people's experience to make sure that your own experience is not as bad, which is one of the reasons why I do these videos and why I open the Telegram group. Use the experience of others to avoid issues for yourself. It would help you go further a lot easier and a lot faster. So if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you are not yet subscribed and you like videos such as this, please consider subscribing by clicking on the red button that says subscribe, and don't forget to click on the bell notification icon by the side so that you're notified anytime I upload videos. Now, if you found this video useful and you know people that will find it useful, please share this video with your friends and family. With all that said, thank you so much for watching. I hope to see you in the next one. Bye.